Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Ethereum. Let's get into the price action and see what's going on. Okay, so what we're looking for here is still that potential of this as an ABC wave to the downside. That 1-to-1 is actually sitting here at the 1721. And we were also talking about this possibility of coming down towards this 1657 if we are actually going to look to break down and sort of break through this channel. So these are two areas that I'm looking for lower down here. We also have the 50% retracement, which is sitting here at this 1712 area. So there would be quite a few areas of confluence towards this zone here, and we're looking for that potential that this is a C wave to the downside. Now, we also have the potential of a bearish count where we have a flat correction here where we could actually see a 5-wave move develop to the upside. So we're going to go over that within the video as well as that more bearish count where we could have a series of 1s and 2s here, in which case we could be looking for a bigger breakdown, and the potential that this move here is a wave 1, 2. So we need to be careful of that fact really until we actually take this high here of this B wave, which is currently sitting at this 2019. We need to be aware that there is still potential that we could look to break down in a bigger way. Now we're going to go over the idea that we are within the C wave here, looking for this potential to come down one more time primarily, and then we're going to go over the other counts that we're having a look at. So if we are actually looking to break to the downside here, what we need to be careful of now, this is the more bearish count that I'm looking at here, where we could have a series of 1s and 2s. That's because of how choppy this area is. Now, we could also have this as a different count here, so we're going to go over that in a second. But if we have this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, and another 1 and a 2 here, potentially what this could actually set us up for is a bigger drop to the downside, where we see a move down towards this zone of the 1610 as a wave 3. Now, invalidation of this would come by actually crossing back above this high point here of this 1887. Now, the move up is looking corrective at the moment, but we need to be aware that we could actually see this look to become an impulse. So we're going to go over that count as well within this video. But for the time being, we're looking at the potential of this as an ABC to the upside. Now, there's a couple of ways of reading this. We could argue that this move here is ABC, this is an X wave, and then W, X, and Y. Sorry, A, B, and C again for a Y wave. So now, if this is the case where this is a W, X, and a Y to the upside, we could actually be looking to complete fairly soon here. There is also the potential we could argue this is our W, this is our X, and then we have a zigzag to come to the upside here, in which case this would mean that we actually have a bit higher to come here. And what we would be looking for then potentially as a 1-to-1 off of this low would be possibly up towards this 1865. So this is a key area that we need to keep an eye on if we do look to push to the upside here, where we could actually see continuation up into this 1865 area. We do have some swing highs in this area that would also be particularly interesting, and as well as that would tie in with coming into this 0.786 retracement, which is up here towards this 1854. So going to keep an eye on this area. If we do continue to push to the upside, this could actually indicate a zone where we could get a rejection, and then we could look to break to the downside. Like I said, invalidation of this would come by crossing this 1887. As long as we don't actually cross that, we need to be careful that we're not forming a bigger third wave here, which could actually tie into having this first third wave ending towards the 1610, a move up towards the 1693, and an additional fifth wave to the downside, looking to target out this 1559 to this 1526. So this is looking for the extension here. Once we start to break this high here, this idea starts to fall apart. Now, we were talking about the possibility of a contracting diagonal here. However, this is now invalidated because the way we were looking at this move was basically as this is 1, 2, 3, looking for a 4 and a 5. Now, I've had a look at this internally. No, there is potential we could argue this is ABC in here, in which case we could then argue that this is a 3-wave move to the downside. Now, if it's a 3-wave move, what we could have is that actually this is a wave 1 as part of a expanding diagonal. Now, the fact that we've actually come up already towards this zone and met the requirement of this 1817 could mean that we actually see this move break down one more time in another 3-wave move, which would be looking to target out this 1652 area at a minimum. So this is what I'm looking out for. If we do just form a 3-wave move here and then we form a bigger 3-wave move to the downside, this would be confirmation of the diagonal here. We'd have to take this low and we'd have to be longer than this third wave here for that confirmation to come in. Now, if we fail to achieve that, it would be that possibly something else is going on here within this structure. And what we could be looking for is the fact that we have a flat correction that is playing out. So if we're looking at that possibility of a flat correction within the structure here, what we would be looking out for would be that potential of something like this, where either from further back here, we have this as a W and X, and we have this as an A, B, and a C, in which case we have the Y wave developing as a flat correction. If this is the case, we have that potential to come up towards this zone of this 1942 to this 2080 area. So this higher range here would be if it is going to become an expanding flat, we'd want to see it take this A wave high. Now, if we are looking for this, we want to see a 5-wave move develop to the upside here and start to take out these key levels that we talked about for that more bearish situation where we're going to get a bigger push to the downside. So if we do maintain this low here and we do continue to push up and then form impulsive structure, something like this. We're going to go over it in a second. What I'd be looking for is how we react around these levels. This 1942 area would be quite an interesting one because we would have this zone here where we are actually interacting with this channel once again. So if we do start to break back to the upside here, what I'm going to be looking out is for that potential of this move in this way. Now, the other way we can also look at it where we actually just treat this whole move as a flat correction would be in this manner, where basically from here we treat this as an A wave to the upside. We'd have to then argue that within this structure we have this as W, X, and Y if it is completed to the downside, in which case what we'd be looking for is the possibility that we start to break to the upside in a C wave. Once again, the target as an expanding flat would be within this count would be slightly higher, would be towards this 2123 to this 2025. Now, if we do get a 5-wave move into this region, we'd need to be cautious because this could actually mean that we have another 5-wave move to come to the downside afterwards. So we'll have to just be very cautious within this structure here. We could see this move actually start to break down again once we get this 5-wave sequence, if it does develop to the upside, and that could actually look to bring us back down into this channel line again, or possibly even lower down here towards the 0.618, which will be sitting at this 1624. So there's some key levels. Obviously, we've got some support zones here horizontally towards this 50% as well. So we'd have to keep an eye on this area here. But then also, lower down, we've got some key areas sitting right in this golden pocket towards the 1624 to the 1601. So if we do break down in a bigger way after having a move to the upside here, what we would be looking for is those lower range targets. Now, once again, we have this possibility that if this becomes a running flat, we could see this interaction here with the bottom of the channel. With the top of the channel here again, looking to actually reject and break to the downside. Now, within this, we are looking for this possible B wave retracement. So the typical area we look for a rejection here would actually be between this 2061 to this 1960. So there's a little bit of a cluster within here of some of these fib levels, particularly this 786 and this 1.382, which is sitting here towards this 2062. So if we do get a move up into this zone, would be keeping an eye on that level, as well as this lower range here. We have this 50% of this 1960, and then we also have this area here of this 1967 as a one-to-one of this as an A wave. So going to be keeping an eye on this to see whether we get a rejection off of these areas. Now, if we are looking to break to the upside here, we were talking about the move in this way previously, looking for that possibility of a 5th wave to the upside. Now, I don't really like the way that the structure is formed here. You could potentially argue that we have something here like this as a 5th wave where we've had a triangle and then we've had another wave 2 here. So that would make this 1, 2. But really then we would have to see a much bigger move here to the upside, looking for the potential of a 3rd wave towards this 1928. But yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite way of looking at this move. If it is going to develop as an impulse, I think it would rather be something like this. So this is something I'm monitoring for a breakout. Now, this count stays alive as long as we stay above this 1785. What we would be looking for is the potential to actually see a 3-wave move back to the downside. Now, what this would be doing is treating this as a 1, 2. This is another 1, 2 here. And then basically that we would be within the 3rd wave of this yellow count. Now, the 3rd wave target for this yellow count would be this 1912. We'd want to see basically a three-wave move back down here, finding support, and then see a bigger third, fourth, and fifth, looking to take us up to this 1912, then see an additional fourth wave to the downside, and then see continuation to the upside in this blue count here, looking potentially for this zone of this 1994 to this 1962. So this is how I would be looking at it, potentially extending out as an impulse. But obviously, if we start to lose this 1785, this becomes less likely. And, we could see this move actually start to break down from this point because, like we were saying, if we are looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're looking for a fifth wave to the downside, we could actually still look to break down from these levels and look to actually, start to retest this low and break down through these levels. Now the key zone here is this 1785. If we lose 1785, that makes this potential bullish count fall apart. The problem is, even if we do get a 5-wave move, like I said, to the upside here, if we want to argue that we have a low in place here, what we need to see is another 3-wave move to the downside, finding support above this level, and then looking to actually progress to the upside in an additional 5-wave structure. Until we get that secondary drop and get that support, we need to just be careful that even if we do form a 5-wave move like this to the upside, this could just be short time bullish, and then actually we look to break down in another leg to the downside. Now, if we did have something like this play out, where we play out into these target areas here of this fifth wave, 121 would actually be back down here towards this 1668. So we'd have to be cautious of this. Additional breakdown into these levels would be a bearish sign. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.